Welcome to the Daily Plunge. We are in the Epistle of James, chapter 1, verses 16 through 27. Now, one of the things we have to keep remembering when we read the letter of James is that this is kind of like we have one newsletter article from this pastor, and we have to read between the lines to understand a theology that he's giving to his church every Sunday and throughout the weeks, months, and years. And so what was James preaching that gave freedom and hope to the Christians that he's speaking to? He starts off by saying, don't be deceived into thinking that we create our own good and blessings, that every good and perfect gift comes from God, who's the creator. We're just creatures, right? And he goes on to say this, that God chose you. God has exercised his will to give you faith, and he gave you new birth by the preaching of the word, right? He says this all in verse 18, which made you sort of a first fruits, right? He goes on to say that that we should do more than just listen to the word, we should live it out, which reminds us of Jesus in Luke chapter 7. This is like the guy who built his house on the rock, right? And so let the word take hold of you so that it creates within you faith, and that faith makes you new, gives you new obedience. He goes on to talk about it, how the perfect law, and this is down in verse 25, that gives freedom. Well, what is this perfect law? It's not obvious when you read James, and he says that those who consider themselves religious and yet do not keep a tight rein on their tongues or any other part of their lives show that their religion is worthless. The religion that God our Father accepts is pure and faultless. Well, every one of us fails. James makes this point over and over again throughout his letter that all of us, we drop the ball, we break the law, right? So what is this faith? It is this trust in God over and above the things of this world. That is what he is talking about. And so are you living out your salvation, or are you trying to work it out yourself, right? And again, in verse 25, he says, whoever looks intently into the perfect law that gives freedom and continues in it, not forgetting the word that they've heard, but living it, will be blessed in how they live. And what's this perfect law? Elsewhere, he makes reference to mercy. And that is the law, not the law that's given to us that breaks us and reflects to us our sin, but the law of God's mercy, the characteristic of God to establish his reign over everything. Well, thanks, friends. Have a blessed day. Hey, if you like this podcast or this presentation, please, share it with others. Hit the follow button or the subscribe button, and give us a like, give us a review. Thanks a lot. Have a blessed day.